Hi guys, it's Misha and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about the Russia-Ukraine war as well as the role that our government is playing in it, specifically how we've been sending billions of dollars to Ukraine. There's a real threat of nuclear war, and as you may know, if that happens, if World War III begins, then no one is going to win. Russia would be wiped out, America would be wiped out. The only people that could probably survive is some very, very wealthy individuals, world leaders, government officials that honestly pushed us into the direction of this war, because they would probably have some bunker where they can hide and have some supplies, food, but the rest of us, we wouldn't be so lucky. Instead of focusing on ending this war, which is the logical thing to do, we hear from Biden and from other countries that we have to destroy Putin, we have to destroy Russia, and just continuously putting him into a corner and making him angrier and angrier as if he's going to surrender. I mean, if at this point you think that Putin is going to surrender, that is actually comical. He's not going to surrender. And by pouring all of this money and funding this war, more lives are being lost. By the way, Russia said that they would respond to any nuclear attack.
Антироссийской политики Запад перешел всякую грань. Угрозы в адрес нашей страны, нашего народа, поражение. А по отдельным компонентам и более современными, чем у стран НАТО. России и нашего народа мы, безусловно, используем все имеющиеся в нашем распоряжении средства. Это не блеф.
This made me think of a comparison I heard a while ago where Russia is like a grizzly bear, and bears like to hibernate. So in the winter, there are some ways that you can get a bear out of hibernation, right? You can bring him out. There are no ways that you can put him back into hibernation. That's pretty much impossible. So if you're gonna get Putin to a point where he's gonna have to respond to protect Russia and, retaliate, and he's going to respond, he's made this very clear. So there's going to be no way to de-escalate that situation, God forbid, if that happens. So I don't know, we're kind of playing with fire at this point. I'm not just saying this to scare people, but we should all be worried about it because it's the truth. And right now I'm talking about the attitude, not just from the US, but I do hear this a lot. We have the best army, we can take on Putin. What are you talking about? Yes, our army is great. What does any of that matter if we're going to be nuked? Use your brain for just a second. It doesn't matter how good your army is. If we get to a point where there's a nuclear war, no one is going to win. So I'm not sure what these people are thinking. Oh, get Putin out. We need a regime change.
For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power.
Someone should take Putin out. This is what I've heard on TV, people saying that he needs to be killed.
Is there Brutus in Russia? The only way this ends, my friend, is for somebody in Russia to take this guy out.
And again, instead of focusing on ending the war, we have these videos coming out of what to do in case of a nuclear war. Are you kidding me? Do you guys remember that video that came out? It was New York City, I think. And she's stay inside, go into your apartment and just wait.
So there's been a nuclear attack. Don't ask me how or why, just know that the big one has hit. Step 1, get inside fast. Follow media for more information. Don't forget to sign up for Notify NYC for official alerts and updates.
Yeah, that's gonna help. That's gonna help if in a nuclear war. Just go inside and wait. And hopefully the situation will calm down. Why would we need to get to that point? Shouldn't we be focusing on avoiding a nuclear war instead of yelling from the top of our lungs about how amazing we are, we can defeat Putin? And again, a lot of people are profiting from this. A lot of this has to do with the military-industrial complex. And there are these corporations that, create the nuclear weapons. They are getting a lot of money. Also, the oligarchs in the Ukraine make tons and tons of money. So they don't really care about the lives that are being lost. So yeah, there's a lot of corruption. You also hear a lot of this from Biden, how it's our moral obligation. We have to stop Putin. But the thing is, we're not even at a point where we're trying to get Russian troops out or give the land back to the Ukraine. Now it's about, revenge. You can listen to some of the things Zelensky is saying. We have to get revenge. How could they do this? There needs to be a regime change. We have to get Putin out. Are we forgetting about the nuclear capability of Russia? I mean, they have the largest nuclear arsenal in the world, and they have the means to deliver it. It makes no sense to be promoting this war. It really doesn't. No one will win if we have to get to that point where they have to use nuclear weapons. And again, Russia has made it clear they will retaliate if they are attacked.
The so-called West, as it were, because there is no unity, has taken several steps towards escalation. They are fueling The war in Ukraine, organizing provocations around Taiwan, humanity is essentially faced with two options. Either we continue accumulating the burden of problems that is certain to crush all of us, or we can work together to find solutions, functional if imperfect ones.
They will support it for as long as it takes, despite Russia's recent steps to escalate its war there.
We will not give up and we will not lose. We will fight till the end, at sea, in the air. We will continue fighting for our land, whatever the cost.
Well, are we also going to fight to the last American because of how involved we are in this war? What does that mean? Like, what's the point then? Like, what, he wants to sacrifice all of his people? People are dying every single day. There are children who are dying and being trafficked. Like, wouldn't you want to spare the lives of the Ukrainian people?
I don't think Ukraine has anything to do with the decision about peace or war. I think the decision about peace or war is made in Washington, D.C. As long as we want the war to continue, we will fight that war using Ukrainians as proxies, and we will fight it to the last Ukrainian death.
Bringing us closer to nuclear conflict. There is no negotiation going on. There's no conversation. It's just, oh, we're better, we're stronger, we're going to get you. You're not listening. You're not listening. No one will win if there's a nuclear war. Nobody. The West threatening Russia is not helping at all. The West should be putting all of its efforts into stopping the war, not continuously funding it.
Had a message for Vladimir Putin on the use of nuclear weapons.
Don't.
He went on to say the U.S. response would be consequential. What did he mean by that?
Any use of nuclear weapons would have catastrophic effects for, of course, the country using them, but for many others as well. If
Biden wanted to end this war, he could have done it, but he's funding it. And you know, we can agree Putin is a bad guy. It's time to be a logical person. Biden has to look at the situation and say, yeah, of course we don't agree with what Putin is doing, and it's awful what's happening, but by funding this war, it's just allowing for more and more civilians to die, more and more innocent people every single day. We're always talking about how exceptional we are as American people. Well, if we're so exceptional, then shouldn't we be finding a way to, advocate for peace and have negotiations and talk to him? Because it's a world issue now as well. And Zelensky, he's made it very clear. He doesn't just want to get his country back, he wants to punish Putin, a man who's threatening nuclear war.
Punishment for the crime of aggression. Sanctions against the aggressor are part of the peace formula. Blocking the trade and relations with the aggressor is a part of the peace formula.
It's horrible to see all of these lives being lost, so we need to be focusing on ending the war, not saying, oh, we're willing to sacrifice every American life, every Ukrainian life for what? For what? By giving them all the best weapons and all the money, it's just prolonging it. Also, oh, we have to fight for democracy. You hear this a lot. What democracy? Ukraine has never been a democracy. It's not a democracy. Either is Russia. So I'm not sure what that's about. Also, there's a lot of censorship going on. I don't know if you've seen, there's blacklists of, like Tulsi Gabbard, for example. She was on the blacklist. If you question anything about the U.S. and its involvement in the war, you're put on the blacklist. But then the Ukraine will demand that the U.S. give them all the weapons, all the money.
We're not going to be intimidated by Putin and his reckless words and threats. He's not going to scare us, and he doesn't or intimidate us. America is fully prepared with our NATO allies to defend every single inch of NATO territory. Every single inch. So, Mr. Putin, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Every inch. We're going to continue to provide military equipment so that Ukraine can defend itself, including additional resources that the Congress is going to give me today of $13 billion more.
So we're just wasting money instead of putting it into issues that we are struggling here in America with. So like homeless population, infrastructure. Pennsylvania, there are some of the worst bridges there. But instead we just give money to Ukraine, which obviously causes a lot of inflation. Russian troops are dying, Ukrainian troops are dying, civilians are dying. It's just getting worse and worse. Obviously not going to end with Russia surrendering. It's just increasing the risk of nuclear escalation. That's all it's doing. We need diplomacy from Biden, and not just Biden. We need it from other countries that are supporting Russia too, for example, so India, China, because this is a proxy war. We don't just need to be sending more and more weapons over. I'm not negating any of Putin's actions, by the way. Violence is horrible, but we need to find a better solution. We need to focus on ending this war, not continuing it. Also thinking about the younger generation, like me, for example, I want peace. I want to think about the future. And you see the older people talking about, oh, we have to prepare for nuclear war. We have to fight to the last Ukrainian. I don't want to prepare for a nuclear war. Again, if our country is so great, we should be advocating for peace and trying to find a peaceful solution to stop this war. That's all for